time. So I'm going to change this to 7, 8 because I like to live a little dangerously. If you're watching during my first live stream, then you'll know kind of what's going on in my sort of default rack setup. But just to kind of go over it again very quickly, I've got my sort of little mastering combinator here, which is just a Audiomatic hi-fi device going through an ozone maximizer straight to the output. Very simple stuff there. I'm still a fervent believer in kind of sorting problems out in the mix if you have access to it, rather than trying to patch things up in the master. Also, I'm not a particularly fantastic mastering engineer, so I like to keep things simple there. I've got my UBK again, which I'll be using for kind of more sort of roomy reverb sounds, although it can be used pretty nicely as kind of a more sort of atmospheric reverb. But I'll be using that to tie everything together. I've got the Echo Bode, which I'll be using for sort of creative delay effects if I decide to use it. I've got the Echo, which, you know, just for a little bit of different delay flavor. And I've got the DR1, which I'll be using for kind of more longer sort of ethereal reverb. One thing I did during the first live stream was I did kind of go a little crazy with the reverb and throw it on everything. I'm going to try my best not to do that so much today because it's a little unhealthy to rely too heavily on reverb, but I really like reverb, so I'm probably just going to do the exact same thing again. So I'm just going to have a quick look at my iPad and make sure that everything's okay. Yeah, brilliant, fantastic. Once again, I feel like I should probably mention I'm going to be mixing on headphones, so the mix will probably sound a bit wonky as I'm going, but if you've been watching sort of these live streams over the past few weeks, then you might recognize a few techniques. Particularly for my trailer video, I'll be using the similar sort of gain staging process that I used there. So trying to keep the mix under control, even though I don't really know how it's going to sound at the end. So I guess we'll just have to kind of see how that goes. So yeah, let's get cracking. I suppose I should probably record some guitar stuff. So I'll just create an audio track. And set that to input 2 because I'm using input 1 for the microphone, and I'll just grab my acoustic guitar. Now my intention isn't to play anything particularly complex. It will just be kind of the odd pluck here and there, and then I'll kind of chop it up and hopefully make something vaguely useful out of it. But I would like my capo. Here it is. Right, so let's put it on the 3rd fret. Why not? As someone has rightly pointed out, it's a good time for a sip of tea, and I concur. Cheers. Also, it was my birthday on Monday, so that beer there was is a present from a good friend of mine called Al, and it's delicious. So I should probably say thank you very much for the beer, Al. It's fantastic. Right. So now I realise how bad an idea this was with cables lying all over the place. Right, so with any luck, I'm just going to stick an RE to a compressor on here, just because I like what it does to acoustic guitars. Oh, that's useful. There we go. Right. Just using the guitar preset because I'm lazy and I don't really want to do a lot of tweaking. So, with any luck, we should be able to hear this. Right, okay. I guess I'll probably take Audition off actually because the microphone's picking this up and you don't need to hear it twice. Right, so I'm just going to record a few plucks to start with. Nothing in particular, just see how it goes. That'll probably do for now, actually. So, like I said, nothing particularly fancy, just keeping it simple. So I'll just unplug that and put it back for now. And if I need to record anything else, then I know where it is. Right, okie dokie. So let's have a quick listen back to that wonderful recording. We get the idea. Right, okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this up by just double clicking on it. So as you can see, it's already put the slice points in here for me. I'm just going to right click and select bounce clip to Rex loop. And now I'm going to drag that newly created clip onto a new Dr. Octo Rex here. So I'm going to give that a sensible name. Acoustic guitar gubbins, also I can't spell. Right, so I'll hang on to that for now. So now we have a nicely sliced up Rex loop from all those individual plucks. Really straightforward stuff, really quick and easy to do that. So actually I can probably just get rid of that audio track now. So I'll just delete that, and I'll put that through an RE to A. Use the same guitar preset because I'm lazy. And I will go to the SSL mixer and roll off the lows from around 158 Hertz, just because I don't really need any of that. So if I just listen to that now. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the velocity to amp setting. I'm going to turn this knob right up. So basically, as I'm sequencing individual slices, I can control the amplitude of each slice by adjusting the velocity. Also, actually, I'll come to this in a second, but I might modulate the panning in a second using a sample and hold LFO, just to kind of give it a little bit of a sort of random feel to it. But anyway, I should probably stop. Actually, let's have a. Yeah, there we go. Right, okay, so I'll stop waffling now and I'll just try and make a little loop. Where do I start? Let's start here. Okay. That's got more, it's a sharper attack, so I'll go with that one. It's sounding a little too jaunty for my liking, but never mind. I might use some of those sort of little fret noises. Yeah. No. Yeah, sorry, there's no kind of rhyme or reason to what I'm doing at the moment. I am just kind of messing around. That's not really working for me. I think the first half works. Yeah. I think I'll start with that and just see how it goes. I get the feeling this will make more sense when I actually put in some kind of rhythm, some sort of rhythm section. At least I hope so. Anyway, what I was going to try was I'm going to use a sample and hold LFO. I'm going to turn the rate up a bit and have that controlling the pan. So it should kind of move around a bit. Right, I'm going to leave that for now. I might come back and kind of tinker with that. Anyway, one thing I mentioned last week when I was dissecting Trailer Q is something called the Paternarium, Microtonics Paternarium, and basically, it's if you didn't check out that video or the live stream, it's essentially it's an online service for Microtonic, which is a fantastic drum machine VST, which I really wish I could use in Reason, but there's a really awesome online service called the Paternarium, and it's kind of creates patterns using a sort of semi-generative process, which you can then copy and paste and bring into Microtonic itself to tweak some more. So what I've done to save a little bit of time today is I've actually created a few different loops from the Paternarium and split them into two individual parts. We've got kind of the main hits and the top, and my thinking is hopefully some of these will give me somewhere to go with the percussion, because I'm not really sure what I'm doing at the moment. So let's give it a go. I think that'll be a good start. Now, of course, I'm working in 7/8, and these loops are not in 7/8, they're in 4/4, and they're also at the wrong tempo. So I'm just going to go back to 4/4 for now, stretch that a little bit, and go back to 7/8. So this will probably sound really, really hokey. Interesting. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to bounce this to a Rex loop and create a new track with that Rex on it. And now, if I'd had any kind of foresight, I would have actually had some Rex loops ready to go. So this is just kind of an extra process, basically, having to slice them up. Oh yeah, that's right. Still got that one. Yeah, things go a little awry there. Oh, I really hope this starts to make a little more sense soon. Right. Right, I'm just going to ditch that because the rest of that loop is not working for me. Right. Right, okay, I'm going to just chuck in one of those microtonic tops that I was talking about, just to see. Yeah, I'll do. So I'll roll the lows off on that. And oh yeah, that's right, the tempo is going to be completely wrong. Yeah, no, that's not right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I can't count. Right. Actually, I'm going to transpose that back up. So if I go to slice 7, I just want to transpose that one slice down, so I'm just going to oops. Right, okay. Actually, yes, something else I want to do with these drums. I want to use the old faithful Audiomatic drum effects insert that I showed during my first live stream, which is just an Audiomatic device set to the hi-fi setting. which kind of accentuates the lows and the highs in a really satisfying way, but it scoops the mids out a little bit. So there's a PEQ2 following that, which kind of boosts the mids a little bit. So I've showed this before, but yeah, it's a nice little trick. Get the feeling I'm going to have to scoop the lows on that as well, because I'm planning on putting in another kick and some bass at some point. Yeah, okay. Actually, before I do anything else, yeah, I'm going to put in some more drums. Only this time, I'm not going to use sample drums. I'm going to use some drums from Tom Pritchard's rather fantastic ThorKit refill, which uses Thor to create as kind of drum hits. So let's try a different. Yep, that will do. So let's try. Actually, I think that'll work. That was some kind of percussion. I'm just trying to think. No. I get the feeling that might be interesting. Oh. Right. So what this combinator does is it's basically just a series of Thor devices, one for each individual drum hit. And I've used the programmer to specify kind of one individual hit per key. There's no reason why you couldn't use a Kong or a redrum to trigger each of these individual Thor devices, by the way. This is just how I've chosen to do it. And they all go into this mixer here, and they all go back to the combinator's output. So what I should be able to do is just sequence the drums like any other drum lane rather. Yeah, I think that's making a little more sense. Actually, I think that'll work really nicely with a bit of reverb. So I'm just going to create a reverb aux send on this particular mixer. Now, which channel is this? Thor 4. So interesting. Feeling a little better about this track now. I was a little kind of wary at the start of this. I did think it was just going to sound like a bag of crap. So yeah, let's fingers crossed this will turn out okay. Someone's just asked, no blocks this week. I probably will use blocks actually. I'm just creating a very handy 4-bar block at the moment, I suppose, which I might eventually put into a block. I'll see how it goes really. But I kind of get the feeling I am leaning towards using a block at some point. I'm just gonna have a quick look and see if anyone's asked anything. Oh, good. I'm glad the sound quality is good. Someone said the sound quality is really good. So fantastic. We shouldn't have any problems with glitching this week because I did a little bit of troubleshooting. I tried it with the song I created during the first week of this live stream, and it all went off completely without a hitch. So fingers crossed again. That should be okay. Right. I think this needs some actual melodic element to it besides that silly acoustic guitar. So yeah, let's go for the Poly 6. Right, I'm going to create a Poly 6 bass. So I'm going to do my old trick of just very quickly dialing in a simple sound. I might actually have a little filter modulation this time. A little slower than that. Right, okay. Right. So that's some nice simple bass going on there. Something I have done with the bass, which you might have noticed, and I didn't really notice I was doing it at the time, but it's a good trick. I'm changing the note of each bass note on to coincide with each individual kick. So it kind of accentuates the kind of that melodic change, and it works really nicely with the kick. It's a nice little trick, which I seem to have inadvertently done here, which is kind of useful. Right, let's start adding something else. Let's add another melodic element. I kind of fancy adding a pad, but I would also like to use a piano. Oh, why not both? So if I crank the attack right up, I'm using radical piano for this. I love radical piano. I kind of have some go-to settings here. So I'm using a close mic'd upright piano combined with a jazz mic'd upright piano. Actually, I tend to use home ground. Well, let's. Yeah, that can work. I'm going to turn the key up noise down. Turn the drift up a little bit. And okay, I'm going to cheat a bit here and add a load of reverb because I reckon that'll work really nicely. So I'm just using the RV7000 here. I'm going to change the algorithm to arena because I want a nice big wash. I'm going to turn the EQ on and have it roll off the lows on the reverb so it's not completely overwhelming the mix with this piano. So I'm going to roll off from around 100 Hertz-ish. And I'm going to copy the bass part over so I've got somewhere to work. Actually, while I'm here, I'll use a Factorator so I can use the stereo widening on this, and I imagine I'll pair this with something else at some point. So I'll have another device with the stereo turbo turned all the way down at some point, so there's a nice kind of balance. Otherwise, because this will kind of add a right sort of bias to the piano at the moment. Okay, yeah, I think that's... Yeah, Oh yeah, that piano as pad is working surprisingly well. So yeah, let's run with it. Yeah, that will come in pretty handy. And also, nicely, it kind of gives me a bit of a melodic grounding to kind of work around. So that I think the acoustic guitar is becoming less kind of central to the song itself. It's a nice kind of extra bit of flavor. But yeah. Someone's asked me if I ever play. Actually, I'll just grab my iPad so I can read the question properly. Someone said, where is it? It's a bit boring entering notes like data entry. Yeah, it kind of is. Someone said, you usually draw on your notes. Do you ever do any tracks where you play notes in? Just curious. Yes, I generally, well, sometimes I do. Sometimes I draw them in. I guess it's kind of, because I used to work with trackers quite a lot, and in sort of using trackers, you can do everything using a computer keyboard. And I didn't have a MIDI keyboard at the time, so I kind of got used to sort of using a computer keyboard for a lot of things. Now obviously you can't do that with Reason, you need to use a mouse as well, but kind of, I think that sort of mindset has kind of stuck with me. But I do sometimes play parts in. One of the main reasons I'm not using my keyboard so much now is because my master keyboard over here isn't actually plugged in, and I've got a little sort of controller keyboard to my left, your right, but there's a microphone sitting in the way of that, so it's a little tricky for me to play it. I kind of had to do a bit of a sort of weird claw thing to play it, so it's a bit of a faff. But yeah, could just play it. But yeah, you can hear me kind of knocking the microphone around. But yeah, I'm pretty comfortable doing either, to be honest. Yeah, to me this seemed like the most sensible thing to do. Someone's asked me if I'm using a favorite progression. No, not at all. I am fully 100% winging this. Hence the kind of the random plucking on the guitar and the basically working everything around that. No, there's been no forethought to this whatsoever, I can assure you. Otherwise it would probably sound considerably better planned. So yeah. Right, okay. Well, seeing as I've got some chords in there, I'd like to add a bit of extra motion. So I'm going to go back to Old Faithful Tom's stuff again. So I'm going to go to Tom Pritchard Sound Design, go to Arps. I fancy an ARP. So I'm just going to copy the piano part, paste it onto the ARP, and let's have a listen. I think that might work, but not that particular ARP. See, this is one reason why I really like working with Tom's patches in particular. Is they always seem to slot perfectly into a mix. I mean, I've just gone through like 2 different ARPs completely at random, and I really like how this one sounds. I like how it sounds, but the fifth is kind of throwing it off a bit. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, I think it's time to embellish that pad with something else. I feel like I was onto something with the piano, so I'm going to kind of run with that idea. And, oh, I see I've done something similar here before. Well, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to use a whirly, I think. This is from the electromechanical refill, which came out around, well, it was shortly after Reason 2 or 2.5. It's basically a collection of different electric pianos, and it's really, really good. If you don't have electromechanical, you are missing out. It's really, really handy. So if I do the same thing and just copy and paste that, I don't want to copy and paste everything, but yeah, give me a good place to start. So if I put in another Factorator and turn the stereo turbo knob down again, seriously, I love the Factorator so much. I mean, it's really good. I tend to use it mostly for its stereo widening, which is fantastic, but it's always careful to check the mono mix, which might be a bit tricky for me at the moment wearing headphones. But yeah, it just works really, really well. And also the distortion can sound really nasty. It's really, really good for kind of really harsh sounding distortion, I think. Yeah, so it's really good basically. Not too sure about that. I might bring some of those up an octave, so... Oh yeah, of course, that's the same note. Right, okay, so... And I'm also editing the wrong line. Oops! Yeah, honest, I know what I'm doing. Right. I might actually update the piano line with that and the ARP. I think that'll do. Before I start messing around with this, I'm actually going to copy and paste this because I'm not entirely convinced I'm not making things worse. Yeah. Someone has suggested messing around with the whirly part, which I am definitely going to do. what I'll do with this is I'll stick it through a Audiomatic retro transformer and stick it through tape and crank that up. Actually, I'm going to create a new note lane on this. Those drums could do with something else, to be honest. I think I might try putting some kind of try putting a loop in of some kind. Actually, one thing I do want to do is don't want to change that. Don't want to change that. I want to transpose this down one. Oops. I want to transpose this down one semitone. No, not that. Gone and ruined it. Right, okay. Now I need to transpose the guitar part down one semitone as well to match. It's weird, it doesn't seem to be triggering that one note. That's very odd. Please tell me I'm not going crazy here, right? If I start playing from the end here and it'll loop back, but it won't play that first percussive hit. Oh, and now it is. I give up. Right. Yeah, someone's pointed out that this is starting to sound like something for doing yoga or something. Yeah, I'm getting that vibe as well. It's definitely not the best song I've ever written in my life, I'll be honest. But, you know, it's part of the fun of working live, you know, you never really know what's going to pop out. I don't really want to inundate the mix too much. I was going to add a loop of some kind though. I'm going to go in the Bomb Squad folder because I feel like I need something big. Yeah, that could work. Right, okie dokie. So I'm going to copy that loop to the track and turn that down a little bit. And I'm basically just going to lop the end off each bar and copy and paste that 4 times. I'm going to take a second while I think about what I'm going to do next, because, yeah, I'm not really sure where to go with this, but we'll figure something out. Right. Okay. Um, I'm just having a look at the comments here. Um, yeah. Someone said the second snare seems a bit off. I kind of like it, but yeah. Someone said I'm quite liking the yoga vibe personally. Well, that's good because I think that's where we're going with this. I don't really feel like I can sort of make this sound more impactful or give it a bit more drama at this point. I think it's going to be quite easy listening, but you know, there's nothing wrong with that, I suppose. Um, so yeah. Anyway, right, okay. I think what I'm going to do is uh, no, what I want to do. Let's screw this, right? I've had enough of it sounding a bit yoga-ish. This might not really help much, but I kind of want to give it a try. Let's pulverize this whirly. Right, let's give it a bit of dirt and squash it and roll off some of the highs. Maybe not quite to that degree. Okay, it hasn't really affected the vibe at all, but I kind of like what that's done to it. I might turn the squash down a bit. Oh, no way. I might change that up as well, because I think the twinkliness isn't really gelling as well with me. Let's try something else. I think it'd be fun to kind of glitch up this guitar a little bit more. I could do it manually, but if there's one thing I've realised today, it's that doing my manual edits of this guitar haven't really gone to plan, so I'm going to wing it with Buffer. If you haven't used Buffer, it's a really handy device for kind of creating those sort of quick stutter edits that kind of you hear all over the place. I really, really like it. The problem I had with it was that for the first kind of 6 months or so after I got it, I used it on everything. And to be honest, it's a bit of a played out sound now. I know kind of BT sort of pioneered the stutter edit, but yeah, I think since the release of effects like stutter edit, it kind of has got a bit played out. So I'm finding myself trying not to use it as much. But it's still a guilty pleasure and I really like it. So yeah, screw it. I'm just going to draw in some notes. All right, maybe not. Maybe not. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So you know at the start when I said I was going to be using the same kind of gain staging technique I was using during the trailer dissection video? Well, it appears that's kind of gone out the window, so I'm going to make some minor tweaks to the mix. Right, okay. I'm going to add a synapse filter to this piano pad. It's synapse AF4 analog filter because I really like the kind of, it might give it a bit of much needed dirt, and also I can use that later on as a fade when I start arranging the song. I get the feeling when I arrange this it's going to be pretty simple. I think I'm going to keep this as a more of a sketchy idea, but we'll see. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm going to leave this alone for now, and yes, I am going to put this into a block, and I've just realised I should probably save this, so there we go, saved. Right. I'm thinking it'd be good to just start with that guitar and some glitchy drums, so... I might have some extra buffer glitches come in for the second part of that. Right, okay. So, I'll have the piano start to come in there, I think. So now I can automate this handy AF4 that I've already drawn in. Sorry, I've already dropped in. And I'll have that fade in over the course of the next couple of blocks. I'll have the buffer glitch things up a bit. I'm just drawing in some empty spaces here to kind of... with blocks, you can only mute entire sort of blocks, entire sections in blocks. So a way to get around that is to just draw in blank spaces in the sequencer like this. So let's... Yeah, I think this is... It's doing something. It's doing something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to automate the reverb on the acoustic guitar so it starts off completely dry. So we kind of get some interesting, sort of much more pronounced stutters. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty simple. I kind of feel like those glitches come in a little too much, so I'm just going to mute a few sections here. Let's see how that sounds. Someone has very correctly pointed out that I should probably filter in this ARP. Also, I just want to say that someone seems very apologetic for suggesting this sounds like yoga music. Seriously, don't be apologetic. This is it was sounding a lot like yoga music. No, I'm not. Don't worry, I'm not personally offended if anyone has an issue with this. It's not like I've been slaving away over this for years or anything. So seriously, I'm fully aware it's not the greatest thing I've ever written. But, you know, I'm going to finish it, so it's, you know, I'm having fun making it. I suppose kind of that's part of the process is, you know, if you don't enjoy the process of creating something, then maybe it's time to think about doing something else. And thankfully, you know, I'm still enjoying it, so screw it. Actually, I kind of feel like I'm already kind of going down this road. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a reverb insert on this. I apologize in advance. And have this, I'm going to automate the dry wet on this reverb, which is attached to the ARP. So it'll start off completely wet, so you'll kind of get this wash coming in. Then it will become sort of more rhythmic. So... Yeah, I think at this point it's just going to be a case of small changes throughout. I haven't brought in the other whirly yet, or the other drums. I think what I'm going to do... Oh, I haven't brought in the top either. I'll bring that in here. Yeah, okay. I think now I should probably bring in that whirly. Again, I'll probably filter that in a little bit. Just see where that goes. Now handily, I've already got a filter attached to the pulverizer, which I kind of threw onto the whirly earlier on. Might not have that part coming just yet. Right. Actually, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the high-pass filter off those drums until the bass comes in, so that's there. So I'm going to take that off, and it should... Now I'm listening on headphones, so that might be way too subby, but I'm kinda liking it, so I'm gonna leave it for now. I wish that percussive sound was more regular. I might come back to that in a second. I might sample it. Okay, I feel like it's building to something, so I don't want to the thing is, I kind of like how there isn't really a lot going on in the mix at the moment. I don't want to start throwing lots of stuff in. I think one or two more things. I haven't even used that extra loop yet. Right, okay. Yeah, right, okay. Just gonna have a quick look over here. Yeah. So, yeah. Someone has asked a question about blocks, and how many blocks you can have. As far as I'm aware, I think, yeah, it's 32 blocks. I mean, I think the kind of key thing about blocks, if you're kind of working on a sort of, if you're working on a song with lots of variation, then blocks is not the way forward. It's, you know, if you're kind of adding lots and lots of sort of, if you're sticking with kind of a very sort of core arrangement and you're just kind of playing around that and kind of working with something a little more progressive, basically kind of building and building on the same thing, then yeah, blocks makes a bit more sense. Again, I think I'm kind of used to using blocks because of starting out using trackers and that kind of thing where you work with patterns. So it's a similar kind of concept, except with patterns you couldn't kind of you couldn't then alter sort of individual elements without creating a new pattern. So with this, I'm kind of using one block as kind of a starting point, essentially, and I'm kind of working backwards from that. Unfortunately, the kind of downside to that is it's not particularly interesting to watch from a kind of song, like a compositional point of view. And generally speaking, in my own solo work, I haven't been using blocks as much as I have been using here. And sort of in these songwriting kind of live streams. So it kind of depends on what you're doing, really. Someone's kind of said, you know, in a composition, if you're working on a classical composition, you might need more than that. If you're working on a classical composition, don't use blocks. That's a terrible, terrible idea. But if you're working on something with, say, like a pop structure would be really, really good. So you'd have intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, end. You know, that would be a really good way to use blocks. You'd have a block for your intro, verse, etc., etc. And it would kind of be a nice way of kind of keeping track of the overall structure of the song as well, because you can give blocks different colors. I just haven't changed the color here. I'm basically using blocks for the sake of simplicity and quickness here. I just wanted to get a really simple idea down and kind of work around that rather than kind of essentially working from start to finish. I think working with blocks is really, really handy if you want to get an idea down quickly. If you've got more time to work on an idea and you want to kind of introduce additional variations and that kind of thing, then maybe a kind of more traditional songwriting structure is better suited. Like I said, I haven't really been using blocks as much in my solo work recently as I have been using here. It just so happens that it's really, really handy for speedy songwriting. And also, if I did decide I wanted to change things back, like earlier on when you saw me transpose everything down a semitone, say I wanted to reverse that, all I have to do is open up a block and basically undo the changes I made, and it will make those changes across the entire song, which isn't really that much of a deal here because I could just copy everything in the song here in the song view. And kind of transpose that down a semitone, etc., etc. But kind of it's useful if you just want to make variations, kind of as you're working on a song and you think, I want to make a change to that particular area of the song. So you want to make a change that covers the entirety of the bridge or something like that. Then you can. It's really, really easy. You don't have to change everything. So yeah, there's lots of reasons why blocks are a handy songwriting tool, but I'm not saying they're the only way to work by any means. My affinity for them at the moment is purely out of necessity and quickness, and honestly, slightly laziness. So there we go. Yes, and different. You can give them different names as well. You'd have to go with block 1, block 2, block 3. I'm just, as you might have noticed through my organization and labeling system going on here. Yeah, I'm not so hot when it comes to organization. When I'm working on a song, I tend to leave things kind of higgledy-piggledy and all over the place. When I finish a song, if I think I'm going to come back to it later, and which is generally the case now, I tend to make sure everything's properly labeled. Because there's nothing worse than coming back to a song you finished months or years ago and seeing audio track 2 and audio track 1. It's what the hell are those, you know? So there we go. Anyway, back to it. If you didn't see what I was doing there, I've just applied Groove Channel A1 to the higher notes on the Wurlitzer channel. And I went to the Groove Mixer and edited Groove A1 and introduced some random timing, just so that the higher notes don't fall perfectly on each beat. Because I feel like, well, if we just listen to that now. Oh yeah, that's right, I haven't got that. There we go. So you can hear the higher notes are kind of sometimes delayed slightly, or they come just a little bit before. So it's a really nice way of introducing an extra human touch to it without, you know, doing any kind of destructive editing or anything like that. And again, if I decide I want to change that later on, I can just turn that off, easy. It's really, really handy. I tend to use this a lot on piano parts, especially. If I play a piano part or if I sequence it, I might quantize it and then introduce a kind of element of variation using the Groove Mixer. It's really, really handy. To my knowledge, I haven't really seen any other DAW do that kind of thing, that really easy, non-destructive humanizing. I could be wrong. I'm sure there's stuff out there. There's stuff for like introducing like swing and that kind of thing, but it's not. I don't think there is a non-destructive humanizing function in other software. But like I said, I could be wrong. Anyway, yeah, enough waffling. I'm gonna add something here. I think it's time. I kind of feel I'm on a bit of a piano and electric piano bender at the moment. So why quit the habit of a lifetime, really? I'm gonna just bring this in, and I'm gonna draw in a new part here. I'm gonna change this, because it does stick out like a sore thumb at the moment. I'm fully aware of this. I just want to get something sequenced to work with. Right, okay. I want this. Actually, I might. Yeah, I'm going to put an ART on here and set that to tape. I want some wobble on this, so I'm just going to use LFO2 and map that to pitch. Turn the rate down a bit. Not that much. Right. Yeah, that'll do. And yeah, I'm going to swamp this with reverb. Sorry, I know at the start I said I wasn't going to do this, but I really want to. I think it will sound really good if I do that. Yeah, let's put some delay on that. Yeah. Yeah, I want a bit of grit on this as well, so I might do the same pulverizer trick here as well, just to add a bit of dirt to it. I might take the high pass filter automation off those drums at the start and just mute that section. Yeah, I'm going to change that. I think it's a little too complex at the moment. Right. The problem with using lots and lots of reverb. There's one thing I want to change, and it might involve using a second block. So, oops. So if I'm just going to copy block 1 and create another block. and I'm going to paste those piano parts in. So this might not work. I'm basically just introducing a slight chord change out. I've just realised I'm working on the wrong block. So, so I'm just going to copy that over, cut that out, put that back into block 2, and go back to block 1 and put that back. It's a good thing I copied that beforehand. In fact, I'm going to save this before I totally ruin it. I'm not really convinced that's working. I think moving that kick hasn't really worked. Let's put that back. But I do want that to fall there. Right, okay, I'm just gonna cut that out and cut the bass part, wherever it is, there it is. See, this is why you should label things properly, folks. And pop that there. Right, okay. So I'm gonna take that out. Right, I think that's actually kind of a nice little variation there. It's nice, even if nobody particularly notices it, it's nice to know that I haven't just copy-pasted my way through everything. So let's change that to block 2. I think what I'll do is I'll have one more section like that, and then I feel like I'm kind of copping out here, but I feel like it would work really nicely with just a really simple fade out. Is that a cop out? I don't know. I'll play with it in a second. I'm gonna listen to it from the start again. Some people have been saying it sounds good. That's fantastic. I'm glad some people are enjoying it. Although I kind of feel like it might be a bit of Stockholm syndrome going on here. Yeah, the old Stockholm syndrome. You know, you've been captive to this song for so long that you're starting to appreciate it. But anyway. Someone suggested taking the drums out for a part. I might do that. Yeah, I think I'll take the drums out for a little bit here. I'll just have... Yeah, I'll take the bigger drums out. You might have noticed I've also applied Groove Mixer Channel A1 to the higher electric piano as well now. I've also dialed back the reverb a bit because, let's be honest, that was pretty crazy. Actually, I'm going to take that Audiomatic out and I'm going to replace it with a Scream 4 tape distortion. In case you didn't see what I was doing there, I was automating the feedback on the echo aux send. So I'm hoping for a kind of delay wash type effect. I'm just going to listen to that again. I think that needs to build over a slightly longer period of time. I'm going to fade out these microtonic hats. So I'm just going to join those clips and fade them out. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think that is actually kind of an opportune moment to have this track start to fade out. I think. Again, this might seem like a total cop-out. Another thing I did there was I've automated the reverb time on this higher electric piano. So it basically maxes out at this point. So you get this sort of endless wash almost. Someone suggested I stick an electric guitar solo over the top. I think given my current sort of spontaneity failure with this track, I don't think I'm going to do that just yet. But someone said they really like the Synapse DR1 vibe. Any alternative for Live or Logic? The only reverb unit I'm really familiar with at the moment in sort of VST is the Valhalla reverb, which I used for a bit, which is really fantastic for really big sort of ethereal reverb kind of sounds. It's really, really good. Someone's just said it's good that Adam isn't writing bro step now. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna stay silent on that one. No, I haven't started. I haven't moved into bro step just yet. Although some of my recent stuff has got kind of surprisingly noisy, which is pretty good. Right, okay. What was I gonna do? Not an electric guitar solo. Someone else has said guitar drops out too suddenly though. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Okay. Yeah, someone said don't forget to save. Correct you are, sir. Correct you are. Right, saved. Okay. Guitar. Yeah, let's handily the... Actually, I'll just automate the volume on here. And have it fade out over this block here. There we go. Yeah, that was a good call. I might fade the ARP out as well, just so when everything comes back in, it'd be kind of cool to have that. I might also put a little reverser in before everything comes back in as well. Yeah, that's a nice idea. Crap, what was I doing? ARP, where are you, ARP? There we go. Right. Yeah, I like the idea of having everything fade out and then straight back in. Something I haven't done is automate the cutoff frequency on the bass, so I might have that come up a little bit during this section as well. Yeah, I was going to put a little reverser in. I feel like I need to add something at the end as well. I'm going to cheat here and I'm just going to use a crash cymbal. Yeah, that'll do. And reverse it and shorten it and pop it in there. And now I'm going to put lots of reverb on it. Oh, I really wish I hadn't said anything about not putting reverb on anything at the start of this. I had a funny feeling this was going to happen. Yeah, I have zero self-control, it would appear. Right. Yeah, that needs more reverb, more. Oh yeah, that's right, the reverb time is still massive. Right, okay. What I might do now, in that case, is I am going to put a Selig gain on the output bus here. If you're unfamiliar, the Selig gain, it's a really handy, really simple little device, and it also has a really nice fade on it. I'm going to set it to about 30 seconds. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it reminds me of kind of just kind of old, like really sort of, you know how records in the 80s always had kind of fade outs at the end and that kind of thing. To me, the way this fades out, it kind of has that feel to it. I know that probably sounds really bizarre and I should probably just automate the fader, the master fader, but for some reason it really, I don't know, it just sounds right to me. So yeah, and if it sounds right, it is right. Doesn't, oh, it's not fading because I haven't connected it up. Wow, I am really on form today. I don't know, as far as cop-out endings go, I actually quite like that. I've automated the fade time on this Selig gain. It's set to 30 seconds at the end, so it takes 30 seconds to fade out completely. But I've set it to 0 seconds at the start because sometimes when you're exporting tracks, it has this kind of strange tendency to sort of, it goes from the fade out back to the fade in. It takes ages to fade everything back in. So if you automate the fade time to 0 seconds, you don't get that problem. It's kind of strange. I'm not sure if it's just me, if I'm misusing it or something like that. I mean, to be honest, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me. Something I do want to change though is in block 2, I'm going to change these buffer notes a little bit just to kind of give the guitar part a little bit of variation. So I'm going to go to the tool window here and use alter notes and just apply that because why not? So yeah, okay. Actually, I'm going to have another little reverser just before that. I realise this is in the completely wrong place at the moment, so... I feel like I want some bigger drums to come in there as well. I can't just cheat and throw another loop in. I can't keep doing this. Right. Let's have a redrum and let's use the tube drum hits that I used during my first music making session. Yeah. These are going to be kind of big, epic drums. So I'm not going to be using that snare. Wow, that could not have been better timed if I tried. That might work. So what I'm going to do is high pass filter, roll off the lows. Yeah, these aren't sounding as epic as I'd hoped. No, 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 no. Yeah, that's better. I might put in a little symbol as well. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced this was a great idea. Might have that come in a few seconds later as well. I don't want to fall into the trap of spending forever picking a snare sound. Still not totally sold on those drums. I'm going to listen to this from the start and have a look at the chat section because it looks like there's some interesting conversation going on over there. So let's have a quick look. Someone's pointed out they think the guitar everything fades out too quickly. I am inclined to agree. So I might set that to about 40 seconds instead. But I kind of feel like at this point, I don't really want to do anything that isn't a fade out. So if that's there, an extra 40 seconds, 51 seconds, so it'll finish there-ish. Oops. Yeah, someone suggested I just remove the guitar when the drums kick in. I'm actually leaning towards that. I'm kind of enjoying this songwriting by committee thing. I think we're getting something vaguely workable out of this. I mean, to be honest, from how this started, I'm actually kind of surprised to have a semi-complete song on my hands here. Um, like I said, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination it's my greatest work, but it's been fun, and it's. I hope you've learned something from sort of seeing how I work, even if the end results haven't been particularly great. I'm still kind of bummed that the first songwriting session I did, this first songwriting live stream I did, kind of glitched out towards the end, because I feel like that would have been a much better representation of my songwriting technique than this. But oh well. Anyway, yeah, I was gonna play with the guitar parts. Something else I was gonna do was I'm gonna have some extra kicks come in here, because the that microtonic kick just vanishes completely. This might not work. I'm basically going to solo the acoustic guitar track for the very end. And I'm going to mute the aux send effects returns here, so we kind of get a more pronounced sort of gap. Sorry, I know it's kind of it's interesting that I said the guitar might be a little too much, and now I'm actually focusing on the guitar, but I could actually drop it. Might fade out here. That seems too sudden. Oops. I'm going to use my old trick of using a filter to just filter it out over time, because it's a little less sudden. So. Right, I'm just going to change a couple of things, but I just figured I should probably tell you what I've actually just done. I have a habit of doing that, just listening back and changing things while listening. So yes, I think it was the right call to have the guitars drop out earlier. But the fade, I wanted it to fade out a little more smoothly. So I've attached a ECF 42 filter to the guitar Octorex, and had quite a slow just closing of the filter over the course of a couple of blocks. So it's a smoother fade out. And then I wanted to bring it back in when there's that slight change and the kind of the distorted electric piano comes in. And then I also decided during the section where everything drops out a bit, I wanted to have it kind of wash away. So I put, surprise, surprise, another reverb unit on the as on an insert reverb on the guitar Octorex. So you kind of get that. Well, I'll play it for you. This is what happens. Which I think is kind of neat. Also, I wanted to extend the length of that rise. That's better. I might keep the reverb time up, as everything's fading out anyway. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised I've managed to crack 3 minutes with this one. I really thought it was going to be stuck around 2.5 minutes. I'm just keep my fingers crossed. That doesn't mean it's outstayed its welcome. I'm just going to have another quick look at the iPad and see if anyone's said anything. Could even fade in the guitar again just as the song fades out. That's a cracking idea. I should do that. I'm thinking pull stretch the guitar for a later part of the track. I wasn't thinking of actually using pull stretch this time, but now you've kind of planted the idea in my head. I think pull stretching the guitar. I might not bring it in later on. Actually, during that break, it might sound really nice. Yeah. See, many ears are better than two. Yeah, that's not a terrible idea. Um, yeah, okay. I think also there's lots of people giving me encouraging words, which is nice. Don't worry, I'm not like beating myself up over this or anything. I think, you know, it's turning out all right. I'm reasonably happy with it. It is what it is. I'm glad I've written it, and you know that's the important thing, really. And I'm glad that you've been here to share in the experience, because it's been a lot of fun actually. So I'll pause stretch the guitars in just a second. Right. Okay. My goodness, that beer is very strong. Right. What I'll do is I'll just export that as a loop. And I'll bring it into pause stretch in a second. I can't. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. Actually, I'm kind of thinking. No, that'll be fine as it is. Right. Okay. Pause stretch. Oh, please don't lock up on me. Oh no, it's my external drive waking up. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is open up the file I just exported, which was just the guitar playing. In case you missed my first songwriting session, I love pull stretch. It's basically it's really really good for kind of extreme stretching. And yeah, someone asked me after the first video I did why I used pull stretch and didn't just stretch inside reason. I just kind of like the flavor it gives. I mean, to be honest, I could probably do this inside reason. It would just sound a bit different. But this is how it sounds. Yeah, I can get some use out of that. Amusingly, during my birthday bash over the weekend, because we had a basically I've got kind of I've started an annual tradition around my birthday where every year I'll basically start watching films and start getting horribly horribly drunk from around midday, and people can come round and join in the festivities, and it's basically, you know, an excuse for me to get drunk on my birthday, really. But we ended up watching Dredd towards the end of the night. But Dredd is a fantastic film. Earlier in the day, we'd watch Judge Dredd, which is the terrible 1995 or 96 Sylvester Stallone one. So we kind of cleansed our palates with Dredd. There is so much pull stretch in that film. It's really funny. But I remember reading quite a while ago that they actually used... There was quite a famous pull stretch of a song by Justin Bieber a few years ago, which sounded really ethereal and really, really nice. And they used that as the temp track. So when it came to actually making the film, they just pull stretched bits of the score, and it sounds fantastic. If you haven't seen Dredd, it's a fantastic film. You should definitely watch it. It's ridiculously over the top, good action, if you like that kind of thing. Totally not clever in the slightest, well, in terms of plot and characterization, but it's a really good action film. Yeah, I think I'll bring that in later, because I quite like the dryness of the start. Yeah, whoever came up with that idea, give yourself a big pat on the back, because that sounds pretty good to my ears. Yeah, I'll just have that play in the end as well. Oh, that sounds lovely. Okay, I don't want that to fade in so slowly. Yeah, whoever came up with the idea of using pull stretch there, my proverbial hat is doffed to you, sir, because that sounds, yeah, that's really good. Thank you so much. You kind of saved me a bit there. In case you're wondering what I was doing, I've just used a Pulsar rack extension device here. Although you could use anything with an LFO that has a CV output, and I've routed that to the pan input on the stretch channel. So what that'll do is kind of gently pan the pull stretch channel slowly, kind of from left to right, just to kind of give it a little bit of space. I don't want it to be like, sort of early stereo production hard panning all over the place. But yeah, I wanted it to be kind of there to be a little bit of panning going on that isn't just me lazily using Factorator. Also, good spot for whoever first noticed. Yeah, I have basically in OS X, I use 3 virtual desktops. Each one has a really nice Metal Gear Solid themed wallpaper. So yeah, good spot. Yeah, I do like a bit of Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, I only played the third one all the way through quite recently. So yeah, it's aged remarkably well, I think. Anyway, I think we should probably listen to this all the way through, and then if I can't think of anything else, I might call it a day there and just have a look and answer any questions you might have, or go in depth, sort of relating to techniques I've used here today. But all in all, I think that's been a surprising success. But anyway, I'll stop waffling and just play the track. There is a Mac version of Pull Stretch. I'll mention it in a sec. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that. It's really grown on me. There's just one thing I want to check. Yeah, I just wanted to add a little reverse cymbal before the drum loop came in, because otherwise it's a bit sudden when that all just suddenly comes in. Yeah, great call on the pull stretch. Seriously, I can't thank whoever came up with that idea enough. That's a good save. It's quite nice to have the guitar drop out at the end and just have that come in. I might notch it a few dB during the dropped section. But yeah, also someone said I look remarkably like Otacon. I'm not really sure what to make of that. Hilariously enough, when I was a kid and I played the first Metal Gear Solid, my brother, I've got an older brother, and he really did look an awful lot like Otacon. Like I got some stick for that. It's like, oh my god, your brother's in this game and he's pissing himself in a locker. Oh, hilarious. So yeah, yeah. Someone's posted the link to the Mac version of Pull Stretch. Yeah, I seem to remember it was a bit of a faff to find when I wanted to look for it, but it was kind of one of those indispensable Windows utilities that I really wanted in OS X. A couple of others that I've had to use Wine to use include Foobar. There's another couple of things as well, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But Foobar isn't just a really good audio player. It's got a bunch of really useful tagging tools and stuff built into it as well, which I really miss. And iTunes is awful. Anyway, this is just kind of turning into a bit of a rant against various bits of software. Yeah. Someone said they notice I have a Bitly folder, just wondering what I use and maybe what I particularly like. I had, well, I still have the Fairlight XXL refill, I think. No, Fairlight Platinum, sorry. And then I picked up the Way Beyond Fairlight refill. I've released an album under the alias Adfi, which is kind of an 80s throwback type thing. And I never originally planned to release it. It was kind of a fun project I was working on. And that uses the Fairlight Platinum and WBF refills pretty heavily, like pretty much exclusively. Most of the sounds in that are Fairlight based. I also use some of the drum samples in my album Obscura, which is it's a mostly kind of hardware based album, so it's lots of Volkers and MBF drum machines and that kind of thing, and a lot of drum machine samples from the Fairlight Platinum refill and WBF. Yeah, when you saw me use Pull Stretch just then, I literally just opened up the exported guitar sample, which I'll just play for you again. I'll go to the browser, and it was this. I fed that into Pull Stretch. Didn't change any of the parameters. They're all just the default parameters. Typically I would change the parameters, but it came out like this. So it took a 10-second file and made something that lasts 1 minute 20 seconds. It's a really, really useful sound design tool. I tend to apply, surprise, surprise, a little bit of reverb on the top of Pull Stretch sounds just to kind of smooth things over a little bit. But yeah, it's really, really good. I tend not to throw things that are too transient heavy at it, because it kind of ends up sort of coming up with this sort of smushy sort of sound, which I'm not really fond of. It's not particularly useful. But if you kind of throw things at it, well, I say that, I've just thrown that stupid acoustic guitar thing at it, which is full of transients. But I tend to avoid drums. It's really, really good if you're working on a track. Again, blocks are useful in this instance because you can work on a block, solo the pads and kind of some of the more melodic parts, bounce those out, put them through Pull Stretch, bring them back in, and you can use that to form part of the intro sequence, which I believe I did in some form during my first songwriting session, my live stream. So yeah, just having another quick look. Someone suggested I should put some vocals in. Probably not going to do that for this one, but it's not a bad idea. But I kind of feel like I'm happy with how this has turned out. I kind of want to leave it for now. Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, really. What I will do is, at some point tomorrow, probably first thing in the morning, well, actually maybe a little bit after I've had a chance to sort of refresh my ears a little bit, I'll sort of correct any obvious mix mistakes in this song, because there's bound to be loads of them. I've been working on headphones and it's, I've had a pretty strong beer, so there's bound to be mix mistakes aplenty all over this. So I'll try and sort of tweak those, but this time I'll make a note of anything I do change. And I'll try and get the song uploaded for you tomorrow. I'll get in touch with Tom and see if he's okay with me sharing any of his patches. If not, I'll just bounce them as audio. But yeah, and I don't think I've used anything else that's any other commercial samples. So if it's just a case of bouncing a couple of channels, that's totally fine. And yeah, so I'll share. I'll see if I can share the this Reason document with you tomorrow once I've trimmed some of the audio a bit and reduced the file size a little bit. So yeah, yeah. Someone said it'd be cool if someone made a pull stretch VST that you could do with a DAW. It's the problem is I don't. It's an offline process, so I don't really think it would work by its very nature. I'm not really sure how that would work. Although stranger things have happened. I said the same thing about Melodyne, and then that became its own odd kind of plugin. Yeah, using that as a VST originally before they changed to random access was a massive pain. But since they switched to random access, it's been really really good. They had to essentially kind of create their own plugin format for it, but it works really really well. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about the track, or if there's anything you'd like me to look at, then now's the time. Otherwise, I'll probably just wrap it up there, really. So yeah, just actually, I'll just make sure this is saved properly. Yeah, that's all fine. Right, good stuff. Right, okay. In that case, I'll probably hang around in the chat section for